dog, and the story I'm about to read to you is one that you can find in one of the articles of when I met Huldra. So I'm just gonna read it. The other day I went for a drive to Lardal. This is a district less than an hour drive from Larvik, and you can find a lot of good outdoor activities there. I wanted to see the park where the whole family may enjoy the fun of both climbing and speed. It is called Høyt og lavt, which means high and low. When I had parked my car, Bella the dog couldn't wait to get out and run around. It was as if she had picked up on a really strange smell, something that was far from anything another dog, animal or human had left behind. She was almost attacking the inventory of the car, so I let her step outside. As for me, I usually can't sense anything out of the ordinary until that very evening. A late time of the day it was, but the sun was still shining. I set one foot on the ground as I was getting out of the car, and then the next one. The dog was still acting strangely, just ran back and forth, whimpering. I tried to make her come to me by patting on my leg and saying her name, with the calmer sounds I could master. Nothing worked. She was still going berserk on the slippery ground. Maybe it was her knowing that all the ice beneath my feet would make me injure myself that caused the strange behavior, I thought to myself. Then, in a blink of an eye, my feet started to slip. I held on tight to the car door that was still open for dear life, until I had regained my balance again. In straight up position I now was so happy to be in, I took a deep breath until I felt calmer. It didn't last very long though, which had nothing to do with Bella. It was as if someone stared at me, and this was not my four-legged friend. The dog had actually come to me now, looking at whatever it was that was behind me. She kept her tail down and between her rear legs, whilst she murmured. A chill started to run up and down my spine. I could not move nor speak. Everything must have been running in slow motion, because it felt like I was standing still for an eternity. Then my hand slipped, and I lost my grip on the car door. Swaying back and forth was not preventing me from falling. The ice came closer. The crash was just about to happen, but then something grabbed me and would not let me go. I closed my eyes in pure terror. But then I heard a voice saying, "Careful now! I usually help people from falling into the river, not people getting in and out of cars." "What are you doing here anyway? It's the middle of winter, you know, and this place doesn't open until April 27th. Don't be scared, I'm not here to hurt you." I opened my eyes and looked into the friendliest face I'd ever seen. It was a young woman that was more like a girl really, with curly long hair that caught the glow of the evening sun. Finally I dared to breathe again and speak. I replied, "Thank you for helping me, but who are you?" The girl started to laugh so hard that she bent down and held a hand over her own stomach, and it didn't seem like she was about to stop for a long time. Then all of a sudden she stood up straight again, calmer, but she was still smiling. She said, "I'm Huldra. I guess you are not from around here. Because of the local inhabitants here, the knowledge of my kindness is a well-kept secret." I had heard of her, of course, but tales about her being a nice and helpful creature? No way. There were many versions, but a really terrible story was the following one. Huldra was a creature that lived in the woods, and some say that she was beautiful when you watched her from the front. If you were looking at her back, you would see straight into her insides. It was made out of wood, and this was rotting. In addition to this, it was said that she had a tail. Huldra tricked young men to follow her into the forest, killed them, and cut their heart out. This she buried like a treasure. The girl in front of me spoke again, and I just knew that whatever I had heard before, it was not true. Bella had just come back from running in the opposite direction when Huldra laughed so hard just a few moments ago. The dog had seen her back and did not try to lift her leg against it, so gone was the thought of Huldra consisting of wood inside. Also, she leaned over Bella, stroked the coat, and the dog was acting as if the girl had become one of her friends. That's a certain sign of no danger, so I asked Huldra what the real story was. She said, "A long time ago I was born on a night when Bifrost, a bridge in Norse mythology used by the gods to go from their world and to the human one, appeared on the moonlit night sky. The year was 1150 after Christ, and Norway was in the process of being Christianized. There were more than one religion here for a long time to come, and the Vikings and their beliefs had a lot of followers. They said that a child born on a night when Bifrost was present would have special powers. Believers of Christ disagreed, and some of them said I came from something not good. I didn't have any powers, except that I grew up surprisingly beautiful. A lot of men wanted me, but I only had eyes for one man. He went away one summer to go on a Viking raid. When he came back late fall, he had started to drink and hallucinated all the time. One day I found him in the woods, and he was not sober at all. He had hurt his leg so much that he could not walk, and I was not strong enough to carry him. I made him lay down on the ground, and then I went for help. When strong men and women came to his rescue, he was talking in intoxicated state, saying he had seen me with a tail. The men then knew it was just nonsense coming out of a drunk's mouth, but some of the women were really jealous of my beauty. Some claimed that it was I that had injured his leg too. They used the rapidly growing new religion as a weapon and made others believe that I was evil. It was decided that I had to prove my innocence, so they forced me to go down into the river. It was a death sentence, because the currents were so strong. It's a river good for fishing in, but not for swimming. If you don't stay close to the riverbank, that is. Anyway, if I was to manage to survive the currents and get back onto solid ground, then they would say it was because I had the powers of a witch. If I drowned, I was innocent. So if the river didn't kill me, people would. When I was gone, I wanted to stay here as a ghost, or a fairy is a better description of me. I shook my head in total surprise and asked, "But why would you like to stay here? You must have been really afraid of dying, right? Trying to fight your way back into life?" I searched the expression on her face, looking for confirmation that death scared her terribly, and that it was not love of humans that made her wish to walk around like a ghost. I didn't get the answers I expected. Instead, she said, "I wanted to stay because there were so many people that I loved that tried to stop my execution. They were just outnumbered, that's all. Besides that guy I told you about, I really didn't want anything bad to happen to him. I still loved him, you see. And he did not have a clue about the terrible happening he had caused. He really liked me too, and honestly it was mostly for him I denied stepping on to that rainbow I told you about. I wanted to keep him safe somehow, but he was one of the few that my ghost or fairy powers had absolutely no effect on. The next morning, after my death, he jumped into the river and didn't even try to resist as the currents took his life. I don't know if the gods let him go to Valhall. At least there was no rainbow to be seen anywhere in the sky that day. I found this strange, because it came for me the day I died, but I chased it away again. No one knows how sad I was, and I searched everywhere for my love. I couldn't find him. So I cried out to the gods of Valhall to send me the rainbow again. It did not appear, so I guess they thought of me as someone not good enough for their heaven anymore. As time passed by, I decided to do some good if I was going to be stuck here anyway. Maybe the gods then would give me a second rainbow. I chose to keep people from drowning in the river. Around here they came to realize that they had a mysterious ghost running around, saving people from drowning. Some accidents have still happened, you know, but I just can't be everywhere at the same time. Every day I tell myself that what happened to me was part of a bigger plan the gods have. A task to help people from drowning, and that I cannot leave this place until it is safe. I have to believe that when it is, everybody in Valhall will reward my bravery and take me home. You have got to have hope, right? Huldra stopped talking and looked at me with a sad face. I felt sorry for her, and actually I managed to give her a hug. She must have been so lonely, I thought to myself. A few other questions popped into my head, and when she looked happier again, I asked, I'm curious about why people told so many bad stories about you, even after your death. Also, why did people from this place keep what you really are a secret? She said. Actually, I told people who live here to tell bad stories about me. I wanted visitors to stay away from the river. People here actually love me, you know. But now they use me to draw attention to the place, and around here I'm also used as a symbol for the district. There's more than one drawn or painted image of me out there. Look for one, and I'm sure you will find it. Anyway, I have to go now, but every time you see a symbol of me, then look to the sky. If you see me dancing on a rainbow, you'll know that the gods of Valhall have come for me. Maybe, if I'm lucky, my rainbow will show up today. Who knows? She smiled, and then she hugged me for a very long time before she let go of me. She took half a pirouette, followed up by a firm stroll down the road. I could hear a small laughter and saw her waving her arms up and down, as if she was pretending to be a bird. Every now and then she turned her head and smiled at me. A part of me wanted to laugh because she looked so happy despite her situation. But I also felt like crying over her sad story. I just hoped everything would turn out to the best for her in her afterlife. One thing was for sure, she really deserved that. But as she went farther and farther away, I began to think that I had just been a victim of a bad joke. This was just a girl that made her day more interesting by playing tricks on people. I said to myself, who believes in supernatural beings anyway? I laughed a small laughter and felt a bit embarrassed. Bella, on the other hand, seemed sad to see the girl go. Never mind that, Bella. Let's just go home and make ourselves something good to eat. Just the talk of food usually makes the dog wag like her whole body is a tail. This time, though, she just lay her head back and started howling like a wolf. That's when it happened. A rainbow stretched across the sky and stopped by the road, right next to the girl. She stepped onto it, and both her and the rainbow dissolved into thin air. I looked at Bella and could not believe what I had just seen. It must have been minutes that went by without me moving at all. When I managed to shake it off, I realized that my mouth was open and I was drooling. I don't think I really regained my senses of where I was again until I discovered that Bella and I were on our way back home. In the car, I said to the dog, "So the gods of Valhall really listens to you, huh?" The only answer she gave me was a yawn, and then she fell asleep. When we had arrived at our old sweet home, and I'm telling you it is old, I sat down by my laptop and searched the internet. Huldra was gone now, I knew that, but I really wanted to know if there was anything out of the ordinary she meant by the symbols of her. I was curious to find out if the people of Lardal celebrated her somehow. The best place to look, I figured, would be in the district's own home pages. And what do you know? There it was. An image that is meant to symbolize Huldra on its own crest. They think she represents them due to her mysterious and wonderful nature, a symbol of something the inhabitants of the district find as impressive as their own rich nature. At Kärra Fossepark they even have a place about her, and a whole lot more. You can also go fishing there and discover the beauty of the wild. If you decide to go to the high and low park, you might as well discover this place too. It's right next door, really. Bella and I will absolutely go back, and maybe we'll meet you there. Just don't tell me a story about you claiming to be a supernatural being of some kind. They have already left for Valhall. And that's my story. Bye now.